Hey, what's up you guys, it's your boy Drew here back again with another video for all you American soccer fans out there. And in this video we got two topics today. First topic being Chris Wondolowski being the #1 top goal scorer for MLS history. Second being Tyler Boyd switching from New Zealand to US men's national team nationality status. So let's get into it. But of course, as always, if you guys love soccer and you want to see it get the growth and respect it deserves in this country and you want to be part of that change, then subscribe down below and be part of it. Also, real quick, I want to give a shout out to MLS Zone. I see you comment on my videos a couple times, and I check out your channel as well. And I see that you cover obviously a lot of MLS content, which is good. So if you guys are interested in seeing more MLS content besides just mine, head over to MLS Zone's YouTube. I'll leave a link down to his channel in the description box down below. So totally check him out. It's really good to support all your MLS and American soccer small YouTubers here, because together we can all help grow soccer and MLS here in America and obviously globally one day. He mostly covers like a lot of MLS stuff and a lot of like weekly fixture roundups. So if you guys are looking for a person who talks about rounding up the week or the weekend or these fixtures, totally check him out. He's really he's good at that. I don't really in my channel I personally don't cover the results week in and week out, but it looks like he does. So totally check him out. So on Saturday morning, Chris Wondolowski was right behind Landon Donovan in the race to become the MLS top goal scorer in history. He was only one goal away from Landon Donovan's 145 goals total. So later on that day, San Jose Earthquakes plays a game against Chicago Fire in California, and San Jose's at home. Chris Wondolowski, all he needed was one goal just to tie up the leaderboard with Landon Donovan. So he gets that one goal. Cool, great, we get it. Half is over, second half is here. He scores another goal and officially becomes the #1 goal scorer of MLS. But he wasn't done. He was like, you know what? I want to cement this lead I have and push it further to make sure I have this title for a couple more years to come. So he scores 2 more goals before the game's over. So San Jose ends up winning 4-1 against Chicago, with Chris Wondolowski scoring all 4 goals for San Jose. How insane. What an insane game, first of all, for him, and an insane game for him to become the MLS top goal scorer. Like, what a game to showcase how good of a striker he is in MLS. I don't know what else to say. I've said this first half of the video is just to praise Chris Wondolowski and how good he is, and if he will be able to retain this #1 MLS goal scorer status for a long time. I think he will. If you guys look at the leaderboard, I really don't have a picture for you guys, but the Landon Donovan obviously is in second place, and all the other players in this list are mostly all retired. The only player who comes close to Chris Wondolowski's tally right now is Kai Kamara with 119 goals. Now, as of right now, Chris Wondolowski has 148 goals, Kai Kamara 119. And now Kai Kamara plays for Colorado Rapids, and obviously Colorado Rapids is not really doing well. So I can't see him racking up 30 goals this season to beat Chris Wondolowski, or I can't really see him racking up 30 goals in like 3 seasons. No offense to Colorado or Kai Kamara, but I think Chris Wondolowski has got this top spot of goal scorers, status in MLS for many, many years to come, and he's well deserved. He's a player who really stayed in MLS his whole career. He's played for Houston, obviously played for San Jose. That's where his most recognizable team is San Jose Earthquakes, and that's where he really made his name. He scored over 100 goals for San Jose. I'm pretty sure he's probably their top goal scorer as well, so good for him. He's got 2 big records on his shoulder, 2 good honors. I always liked Chris Wondolowski as a striker and as a player. He seems like a really cool dude. I watched a lot of interviews with him. Obviously a prolific striker, but I wish he was able to turn it around into the national team. National team success, he didn't really have much chances, or didn't score as many goals as he could have. But I just blame that on bad managing at the time, or also maybe not having the good enough players to feed him good through balls or crosses or whatever into him in the box for him to finish. So I'm sure with a really good support system, he would have been a really great striker for the national team, and probably would have been up there with Clint Dempsey and Landon Donovan as one of the top goal scorers for the national team. So yes, all the praises from me, Chris Wondolowski, and I'm sure many other MLS fans. You are, I think, personally, the most prolific and the best striker in MLS history, and you've cemented that by scoring 4 goals against Chicago and becoming MLS's top goal scorer of all time. Shout out to you. Now let's move on to our next topic. That is Tyler Boyd switching from New Zealand to representing the U.S. men's national team. I really wanted to cover Tyler Boyd because I've seen a lot of news outlets covering this dude switch from New Zealand to United States, and I was like, who? First of all, I never heard of him, so who is this dude? So I looked him up, and if you guys aren't familiar with him, I hope I can fill you guys in on who this dude is and what he's going to bring to our national team. So Tyler Boyd was born in New Zealand, spent some time as a child here in California, and then moved back at age 10 to New Zealand, and he's been there ever since his career took off. He played in the Australian League with Wellington Phoenix. He was then moved over to Portugal, playing for Vitória de Guimarães in the Portuguese league, and currently he's loaned out from that Portuguese team to a Turkish team in the Turkish league, where right now he's got 5 goals, 4 assists in 13 matches. So pretty decent, and I think a pretty decent record, only playing 13 games, having 5 goals and 4 assists already, so that's good for him. We're trying to cover the type of player he is, because we know America really needs more quality players. And when I saw the switch over, I was like, is this dude even quality? Is he even going to be worth all the hype he's getting? Let's check him out. So, Tyler Boyd is mostly a left wing player, which is a position that the USA really lacks in. Of course, we've got Jonathan Lewis, becoming a really good player for the national team and for his team, New York City FC. But for the most part, last couple of games, Greg Berhalter has been playing Paul Arriola out of position into the left flank. Paul Arriola is mostly a right midfielder, but obviously since our left midfield is kind of vacant right now, Berhalter has asked him to move over to the left, and he does pretty well, but I think he's more comfortable on the right because that's where he plays for DC game in and game out, or week in and week out, however you say that. So ask him to move over to the left, and he's right-footed. That really could dampen his game in our formation as well. And then people might say, so who cares if he's right-footed and he's playing on the left? Well, if you guys aren't familiar, if you're in the left side field and you're trying to run up the field to put a cross in, you're going to have to cross with your left foot if you're in the left side. If you're on the left midfield. And if you're right-footed, obviously then you're going to be using your weak foot, which is your left foot, to send it across, which is obviously not the easiest thing to do if you're not really well-versed in using both of your feet, as good as the other one. What is that word? Ambidextrous? So anyway, I looked up some highlights for Tyler Boyd. He seems to be a really pacey player, which is good. It's good to have pace on the wings. He seems to be really technical, really good dribbler, really good goal scorer, really some nice technique, skill moves. Not anything of Neymar or Ronaldo caliber, but pretty decent enough to get around a couple defenders and score a goal. So I'm really excited. I'm excited to see him and see how he would work in Greg Berhalter's system for the national team. Now, a lot of people are wondering, who this dude is. Is it going to be worth it, or is it going to be another Dom Dwyer? And remember, Dom Dwyer was a player who was for English representation, but then he switched over to the USA a couple years ago. And his first appearances were pretty good. He scored on them. He really showed that he was a good striker. But then after that, he kind of fell off. And I really hope that Tyler Boyd doesn't fall into that trap either. I hope he doesn't become another Dom Dwyer. I don't remember hearing much from Dom. He hasn't been called up in a long time, Dom Dwyer. So I really hope Tyler Boyd doesn't fall into that category of players who flopped after turning in to a United States player. Because we need, like I said, we need quality players. And right now, left midfield is really lacking. We've got Jonathan Lewis, and that's pretty much it in terms of big players who will be able to represent the national team as a starter. Now, when he comes if he gets chosen by Greg Berhalter to become a squad member in the Gold Cup tournament this summer, I'll be very excited to see how he does on the left field. Really excited to see how he links up with other national team players for the U.S. So that's going to be really good. I'm very excited. He was named into the 40-man roster that Greg Berhalter announced earlier today for the Gold Cup this summer, but I didn't want to squish this all into one video. So tomorrow I'm going to upload a video. I'm talking about the 40-man roster and which 23 players I'd like to see Greg Berhalter select for the Gold Cup tournament on June 6th. So if you guys aren't subscribed yet, definitely subscribe down below, because next video tomorrow we'll be talking about all the players we should have in the national team for the Gold Cup tournament coming up soon. I'm very excited to talk about that. It's one of my favorite things to talk about is rosters. We had a lot of roster videos on my channel. But that's pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about, Tyler Boyd, let me know down below. Any praises for Chris Wondolowski as well, let me know down below in the comment section. As always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for kicking with me, and I'll see you next time.